अतएव से भाव अंगीकारकारी साधिले न भिजा वांछा गौरांग श्रीहरि अतएव से भाव अंगीकारकारी साधिले न निज वांछा गौरांग श्रीहरि अतएव से भाव अंगीकारकारी साधिले न निज वांछा गौरांग श्रीहरि अतएव से वांछा अंगीकारकारी साधिले न निज वांछा गौरांग श्रीहरि माताजी अतएव से भाव अंगीकारकारी साधिले न निज वांछा गौरांग श्रीहरि अतएव से भाव अंगीकारकारी साधिले न निज वांछा गौरांग श्रीहरि Synonyms अतएव therefore से भाव that mood angikara kari accepting sadhilena fulfilled nija his own vancha desire gauranga Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Hari the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki. Therefore, Lord Gauranga, who is Sri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. Purport. Of the four kinds of reciprocation of loving service, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, Madhurya is considered the fullest. But the conjugal relationship is further divided into two varieties, namely Swakiya and Parakiya. Swakiya is the relationship with Krishna as a formally married husband, and Parakiya is the relationship with Krishna as a paramour. Expert analysts have decided that the transcendental ecstasy of the Parakiya mellow is better because it is more enthusiastic. This phase of conjugal love is found in those who have surrendered to the Lord in intense love, knowing well that such illicit love with the paramour is not morally approved in society. The risks involved in such love of Godhead makes this emotion superior to the relationship in which such risk is not involved, meaning Swakiya. The validity of such risk, however, is possible only in the transcendental realm. Swakiya and Parakiya conjugal love of Godhead have no existence in the material world, and Parakiya is not exhibited anywhere in Vaikuntha, but only in the portion of Goloka Vrindavan known as Vraj. Some devotees think that Krishna is eternally the enjoyer in Goloka Vrindavan, but only sometimes comes to the platform of Vraja to enjoy Parakiya Ras. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, however, have explained that Krishna's pastimes in Vraja are eternal, like his other activities on Goloka Vrindavan. Vraja is a confidential part of Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna exhibited his Vraja pastimes on the surface of this world, and similarly pastimes are eternally exhibited in Vraja in Goloka Vrindavan, where Parakiya Ras is ever existent. In the 3rd chapter of this epic, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has explicitly accepted the fact that Krishna appears in this material world at the end of the Dwapar age of the 28th Chatur Yuga of Vaivasvat Manu and brings with him his Vrajadham, which is the eternal abode of his highest pastimes. As the Lord appears by his own internal potency, so he also brings all his paraphernalia by the same internal potency without extraneous help. It is further stated here in Chaitanya Charitamrta that the Parakya sentiment exists only in that transcendental realm and nowhere else. The highest form of ecstasy can exist only in the most confidential part of the transcendental world, but by the causeless mercy of the Lord, we can have a peep into that invisible Vraja. The transcendental mellow relished by the gopis in Vraja is super excellently featured in Srimati Radharani. Mature assimilation of the transcendental humor of conjugal love is represented by Srimati Radharani, whose feelings are incomprehensible even to Lord Krishna himself. The intensity of her loving service is the highest form of ecstasy. No one can surpass Srimati Radharani in relishing the transcendental mellow qualities of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord himself agreed to assume the position of Radharani in the form of Lord Sri Gauranga. He then relished the highest position of Parakya Ras as exhibited in the transcendental abode of Vraja. So, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is in this chapter giving the internal reasons for the appearance of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The previous chapter discussed the external reasons for the appearance of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when this chapter begins, Kaviraj Goswami is giving a comparison between Lord Krishna's appearance and the appearance of Sriman Mahaprabhu. So he says then when Lord Krishna's time to advent on this material world came upon, at that point it so happened that it was also the time for the avatara for the age to get rid of the burden of the earth. So both the acts coincided at that time, incidentally. So Lord Krishna's advent was not to get rid of the burden of this earth. What's the shloka in Bhagavad Gita? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. So that was not Krishna's intention to take avatar. His avatar, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions and must have been discussed in previous classes, was to give raga bhakti, to show how the residents of Vraja spontaneously love Krishna, and by showing that, to attract us in the same mood. And that was the highest benediction. Krishna being the most merciful, he gave that benediction to us by appearing himself. But coincidentally, because it was the time for the Yuga Avatara also to take incarnation, then that merged with Sri Krishna. But his main intention was not that. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not specifically appear to preach Harinam Sankirtan, the Yuga of this age. He appeared to fulfill his three most important desires, which will be covered as we progress in this chapter. And that was the reason Mahaprabhu appeared. But it also so happened that it was the time of the Yuga Avatara to be propagated. Because in every Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. But is Lord Chaitanya coming every Kali Yuga? It once a day of Brahma, like Krishna. So it incidentally so happened this time that Mahaprabhu came, and then the time was also to spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Yuga Dharma. So Mahaprabhu's intention was solely to relish love of Krishna, things that he could not relish as Krishna, because if I am loving you or if you are loving me, I cannot taste the love that you feel for me or I feel for you, right? I have to take your position to understand the love. So Mahaprabhu had to take the position of a devotee to understand how that love is tasted. And who is the best devotee? Srimati Radharani. So then Krishna figured out, okay, she's the best devotee, let me take her mood. And as soon as he took Radharani's mood, his complexion became golden. And that's why he's Gauranga. So in this chapter, text 42 to 50, there is a progression of the rasas that Krishna relishes with different devotees. So there is a higher and lower gradation of rasas, but the rasas are higher and lower if you stand at a distance and look at them. If you are a bhakta in Shantaras, for you that is the highest. It is never that Lord Hanuman would feel jealous of Mother Sita, that oh she gets to be the wife of Lord Ramachandra, I am just a servant. No, his ecstasy in that service is highest for him. In Chaitanya Charitamrta, and Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu kept to test Murari Gupta's determination to serve Lord Ramachandra. He kept testing and he kept glorifying Lord Krishna in presence of him. And he would say, Murari, worship Krishna. Krishna is full of sweetness. Worship Krishna. So Murari Gupta, he tried his best to serve Krishna, to think about Krishna and not think of Lord Ramachandra. But it became so impossible that he decided to give up his life. So then he went to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, couldn't sleep the whole night. He went to Mahaprabhu and he fell at his feet and said, I have sold my head at the feet of Lord Ramachandra and I cannot take it back. So I am not able to serve Krishna. I am just sold to Lord Ramachandra. So the living entity's inherent bhava, whatever it may be, it may be dasya, it may be sakhya, it may be vatsalya, or it may be madhurya. But for the devotee, for that particular living entity, that is the highest. We cannot say, you have not reached the highest destination. It is highest for them. So these rasas, they increase in taste, they increase in surrender. So there is an increase in mellow. So when Ramananda Rai discussed philosophy with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu asked him one question. What was that question? What did Mahaprabhu want to ask him? What's the ultimate goal of life and how to achieve that? Sadhya sadhanera nishkarsha. He wanted what is the ultimate goal of life and how do we achieve that ultimate goal of life? Sadhya and sadhan. So in that progression, Ramananda Rai started with Varnashrama Dharma. He went on to more higher levels of Jnana Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, all of that. And then he came to this level where he said, Bhakti without Jnana is highest. Jnane prayasa mudapasya namanti eva, Lord Brahma's verse. And then Mahaprabhu at that point said, Ei hoy, aage kahar. Otherwise, before that Mahaprabhu was saying, Ei bahya, aage kahar. This is external, give something else. This is not what I want to hear. And then as he kept progressing, then he came to the stage of Dasyaras. And he glorified Dasyaras. So Mahaprabhu said, Ei hoy, aage kahar. And then he said, Sakhya rasa is the highest achievement for a living entity. And then Mahaprabhu said, Ei uttam, aage kahar. This is very good. Now go ahead. So, Dasya rasa to Sakhya rasa, Mahaprabhu said, Sakhya rasa, this is uttam. And then when he went to Vatsalya rasa, Mahaprabhu again said, this is uttam. So he kept going on, but he never said, this is lesser than or this is higher than the previous rasa. So if you read that purport, I'll go and read one few lines from there, and there it's described how the Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, what is lacking in what, Prabhupada is giving an analysis. He says, in general, love of Godhead is devoid of intimacy of ownership. What does that mean? It means that general love of Godhead. What does general love of Godhead means? So, do devotees who are worshippers of Narayan, do they have love of Godhead? Yes. But that is general love of Godhead. And there is that is devoid of intimacy of ownership. What does ownership mean? It means that Krishna is mine. Generally, the bhava is, I am Krishna's. I am Krishna's. But Krishna is mine, this mood of ownership, that is lacking in general love of Godhead. Right? But that is not lacking in Brajadham. So then he says, in the case of love of servitude, there is a want of confidence. Am I pleasing the Lord? Is my service pleasing? There is always a want of confidence when you are in Dasyaras. This is Prabhupada saying in the purport. There is a want of increased affection in fraternal relationship. So those who are sakhas, what is lacking then? Prabhupada says, there is always a want of increased affection. Then, when this affection, now Prabhupada is not saying that they feel dissatisfied. It is just when you stand at a distance and you analyze the different rasas with the help of Acharya's tikas, with the help of Acharya's explanation, and then you analyze these. And then what he says, however, but when this affection increases in paternal relationship, there is nonetheless a want of complete freedom. In parental relationship, there is a lack of what? What Prabhupada says is complete freedom. The parents can't stay with Krishna all the time. Night time they have to go to their own rooms. Krishna is in his own room. Krishna leaves, he goes to the forest. So, and you cannot not always joke and be very friendly with your kids. Right? So that freedom is not always there. So that is lacking that freedom. However, when one becomes a conjugal lover of Krishna, everything lacking in other relationships is completely manifest. So that's why in conjugal rasa, whatever is lacking in the previous rasas is there. So conjugal rasa is the highest form of rasa. So there is an analogy. What are the 5 material ingredients? So the basic is, the least is the ether, like the lowest. So starting from ether, it gradually progresses to. So what is the quality in ether? Sound. And then when you add sound to ether, or after ether, what is the next quality? Air. So what is the special thing in air that's not in ether? Touch. So there is touch in air, but there is no touch in ether. Ether means space, and air you can feel, the wind is blowing, you feel air. So there is touch. What's the next? Fire. Form. So there is form. So there is form. So sound, touch, and form. What is the next? Water. What is there in water? Taste. So additional taste is added in, the quality of taste is added in water. And then the next is, that's the highest. What's there additional? Smell. So aroma is the highest. So earth has all the qualities of the previous elements, but the previous elements doesn't have what earth has, right? So similarly, Madhura Ras has everything that the previous rasas have, and that way it's the complete rasa. And why is it called Madhura? We read through that. Why is it called Madhur? Kaviraj explained, and we read that verse also. 46. Ataiva madhura rasa kahitaranam swakiya parakiya bhave dvividha samsthan. And the verse before. Increasing love is experienced in various tastes, one above another, but that love which has the highest taste in the gradual succession of desire manifests itself in the form of conjugal love. Because conjugal love is the sweetest, that is why it is called Madhura Ras. Madhura means sweet. The word Madhura means sweet. Because conjugal love is the sweetest, that is why Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying Ataeva Madhura Kahi Taranam. That is why we say it is Madhura Ras. That's the reason, that's the only reason it's called Madhura. So that means that Dasya Bhav is there in every relationship. Everyone, every devotee of Krishna thinks himself to be a Das. Is Lord Nityananda God or not God? God. But he thinks himself what? Das. Why? I mean, he's God. He could say, hey Krishna, I'm equal, like, okay, be on the side, like, let me, it's my turn, on the schedule, I am today God, right? But it's not like that. Why Advaita Acharya? He is Mahavishnu God. Why does he think himself to be a servant? More rasa. So Kaviraj Goswami gives this answer very nicely in one verse in, of course, Chaitanya Caritamrta. So we'll quickly go there. His verse is CC Adi 653. This is the chapter where Advaita Acharya's glories are described. And this is where this point, this is what when I was giving one class in Houston, like very few of the classes I gave. This one came upon, and I think it's stuck with me. Now it says, Krishna premera ei eka apurva prabhav, guru sama laghu ke karaya dasya bhav. Right? Why is it so? Love for Krishna has this one unique effect. It imbues superiors, equals, and inferiors with the spirit of service to Lord Krishna. Why does that happen? Why is Lord Balaram, why does he think himself as servant? Because there's so much love for Krishna, and Kaviraj Goswami says it is the nature of that love that if you are either a superior or an equal or an inferior, you will think yourself as a servant of Krishna. And that is why Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though they are Vishnu expansions, there are Vishnu Tattva, but all the Vishnu Tattvas, they are servants of Krishna. There is no incompatibility when we say that. Why? Which is the next expansion next to Krishna? Who is the next expansion to Krishna? Lord Balaram. Even Lord Balaram thinks himself as Krishna. And he is so much in love with Krishna, there is so much love that he wants to serve Krishna in every rasa. starting with Shantarasa. All the paraphernalia of Krishna, shoes, every single thing, flute, whatever you see, every single paraphernalia is expansion of Lord Balaram. Dasya Rasa, he's serving in Dasya Rasa, he's serving in Sakhya Rasa, of course. He's serving in Vatsalya Rasa. As an elder brother, he's always caring for Krishna. Mother Yashoda would say, Balaram, you are elder, now he's going to the forest, so now you please take care. You are the elder brother, right, to take care. So, Vatsalya. And then Madhurya he appears as, of course we know, as Srimati Anang Manjari, Lord Balaram. And then he serves in Madhur Rasa. So he has not left any Rasa where he is not serving. Once there was a huge competition between Lakshmanji and Sita Devi. Sita Devi went to Lord Ramachandra and she complained, this Lakshman, he does service before I even think of doing that service. This is not fair. I am your wife, I also need to serve. Then Ramachandra called Lakshmana and said, you do the outside kind of services, the internal services let, the household services let Sita Devi do. So he reconciled. But the mood is so that they always want to serve Krishna. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all of these mellows develop how? How do these mellows develop? Because Krishna spread so many mellows, like he shows so many mellows, so many devotees are in different mellows. So how do these mellows develop in us? Which goli or which medicine do we take? So of course that hearing, chanting is there, but hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, that solidifies these feelings in our heart. Right? So when we chant Hare Krishna, there is a tendency to sleep. Right? When we hear Krishna Katha, there is a tendency to sleep. That's why some devotees, what? They get up, they stand up, or they sit somewhere. Why is there a tendency to sleep? Laya Vikshepa. Why is there laya? Why do we feel like, why don't we feel, have we ever seen anyone falling flat on a slice of pizza? Ever? Or falling on rasgulla? Because they're feeling so sleepy. Even you haven't slept for 2 days, and if you have a plate of prasadam in front of you, will you fall on that plate, fall asleep? You will not. You will eat, and then maybe you go to bed, right? But you have slept for 8 hours, and when you are in Bhagavatam class, after Jai Radha Madhava, the head starts to turn. Why is that? Or even chanting. Like first 2 rounds are straight back, like Haridas Thakur, and then after that it starts to droop, like we become like a comma, semicolon, and then they sleep, and then people are like, wake up, Prabhu. So there is no taste. There is some taste. First 2 rounds, like we are chanting, but then the taste is not there. Why? Because we have a lot of mountains of sinful activities, of reactions that are holding us from tasting the holy name. Mountains of sinful activities. Why? Krishna says in Gita, what does he say? Tesham yesham tu anta gata papam jananam punya karmanam te moha dvanta nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. Who worships Krishna with dridhavrata? Whose papa, sinful lives have been totally smashed, destroyed. How do we destroy our sinful lives? So that we can focus on the holy name? Chant. So the way to destroy is Kapila Dev says, there are 4 signs on Lord Krishna's feet. Main 4. There are 48 signs, but 4 are most important, and that Kapila Dev is giving instruction to his own mother Devahuti. And the 4 signs important, if I remember. One is Vajra. Vajra means thunderbolt. Second is Ankush. What is second? Ankush. Ankush means the goad, elephant goad. Right? Ankush. Third is Dhwaja. What does Dhwaja mean? Flag. And then 4th is lotus. What does 4th mean? Lotus. So when you meditate on Vajra, you're chanting, you're sitting and you're meditating on the Vajra, on Lord Krishna's feet. That Vajra destroys mountains of sinful life of yours. It will destroy. That's the effect. So when you meditate on Vajra, it will destroy sinful life. All the mountains of sinful activities we have done in the past lives. So what will happen? When that papa will go, then Krishna says, Dridhavrata. And at that point you'll be Dridhavrata. At that point there will be no sleep. That we see like Maharajas when they come, they are traveling, they have jet lag, everything, and they are chanting like without their eye blinking, right? Why? Because Antagata Papam. Because they have done so much bhajan that the heart has become purified. The heart has become as good as Vrindavan. Why? No pap. By bhajan. So the next is what? Elephant goad. What happens when you meditate on elephant goad? It helps controls the mind. Like the elephant is controlled by a small, this goad, right? What is goad? Like it's like a pointy kind of a thing. They pinch the elephant on their head. So the elephant stays on track. He's controlled. Similarly, the mind is like an elephant. It's always going here and there. Arjuna is an incarnation of who? Nara Rishi. They are the greatest meditators. When Indra sent Apsaras because they were doing so austerities, Indra sent Apsaras, then Lord Narayan, he from his body came out Apsaras. Urvashi and all of like few really celebrated Apsaras came out of his body. He said, okay, these are not that great, to take these better take these. Why bother me? Like, let me do my meditation. So Krishna gave him Apsaras. He came to, like someone is not too rich, he brings a Corolla to you, and he's showing off his Corolla, and he says, hold on, let's take this Ferrari, like take my Ferrari and go. So that's how, like, so Lord let him go. So this Nara Rishi, he is saying that Chanchalami Mana Krishna Pramati Balavad Dridham Tasyaham Nigram Manye Vayu Riva Su Dushkaram. That this mind is very, very obstinate. I cannot control it. I'm Krishna, I'm saying this personally, I cannot control it. It is more difficult than controlling the wind. Right? And then Krishna answers this in how many verses? Not that I knew before, but I prepared for the class, I know. So, in how many verses? Half a verse. He didn't even spend like a chapter on it, or not even half a chapter, not even a full verse. He said only half a verse. Abhyasa tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihate. He said, through two things you can control the mind. Just one, half a shloka. What is one? Abhyas. Second is vairagya. Abha is practice. So practice, what is practice? So Sanskrit, the word abhyasa means repeating. Repeating. So what do we repeat? Hare Krishna. Yeah. So when we chant this Hare Krishna mantra, we keep repeating. That abhyasa will control the mind. The second is vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. How do we increase our vairagya? By going to Kadamba Cafe? Or going to Govinda's, taking samosas? That is required also, like there's prasadam. But anyways, how do you increase vairagya? Associate with devotees who have vairagya. If you associate with me, you will get a job somewhere. But associate with devotees who have vairagya. Like when Maharaj come try to serve them, wash their dhotis. Because when Mahaprabhu, he started to become a devotee, like in his Lila, and then he would go around, he would seek Srivas Thakur's clothes of devotees, wash them, hang them, and fold them, give them back. He was serving the devotees. Why? Because when you serve devotees, you get that mood. The bhava is implanted in your heart, right? So we should serve devotees who have vairagya. We should hear about the characteristics or character of devotees who have vairagya in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So we should hear all of those pastimes. Pururava Maharaj, Yayati Maharaj, we should hear, right? All these pastimes we should hear, and then that will increase vairagya in our heart. So when we have vairagya, when we have abhyas, both, what will happen? This obstinate mind will be controlled. So easy way is also to meditate on the Ankusha when you are chanting the holy names, right? Then there is Dhwaja. What does Dhwaja mean? Flag. In previous ages, when there were war, the party or whatever, like the army that is fighting, they each have their own Dhwaja, flag. Like how we have this, right? Two football teams, they have their own flag, red color, yellow color. So these flags will be always like hoisting. At any point when the flag falls down, the soldiers, they would think, okay, we are lost, we are gone, their all enthusiasm is gone, and they run away. Because they know, okay, we are lost, our Senapati, our king is gone. Right? So this Dhwaja, when you meditate on this Dhwaja will drive away all the enemies of your spiritual life. It will drive away all the enemies. And you will conquer over the enemies. What are the enemies? Shad Asura, what are those? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. Will gain victory on them. Also, this Dhwaja gives us what? Fearlessness. What does it give us? Fearlessness. Because we are always fearful. What if I am not able to stay a brahmachari? What if I I enter Grihastha life, what will happen, what should I do, what job, what do I know, what are my skills, right? All of these kind of thoughts start to come, right? I'm not getting a job, there is some, what if I don't go back to Godhead in this life, what will happen, what will I become in next life, what if I become a cow or a dog or whatever, right? So there's always some kind of fear. There is fear always. How do we overcome this fear? By meditating on the Dhwaja, because Dhwaja is a sign of victory. His Holiness Jai Pataka Maharaj ki Jai. So what? Jai Pataka. So that's the flag of victory. So flag of victory on what? Fear. Right? Then lotus. Acharya said that lotus has bhakti locked in it. Bhakti is locked in that lotus. When you meditate, Bhakti Devi will give you that bhakti, that prema. So we meditate on lotus. So all of the things can be achieved simply by serving one person, Krishna. Of course, we are trying to achieve him. But even his feet are so merciful that you meditate on his feet, you get so many benefits. So many shortcuts in spiritual life. But we have to be lazy intelligent. Andhra Prabhu used to say, be lazy intelligent. Right? So lazy intelligence is the highest. Right? We be lazy intelligent. Right? So one other thing, I know we have 10 minutes, but quickly wanted to, on this same point of Dasya, every devotee thinks himself to be a servant of Krishna. When I say devotee, means Krishna's associate. So there are verses proving that. So we'll take a few verses. Lord Mahavishnu stole the Brahmana's son. Why? Because he wanted to take darshan of Krishna. Bhagavatam 10:89-58. Vijat maja me yuvayor didikshuna mayopanita bhuvidharma guptaye kalavatirna vavaner bharasuran hatveva bhuyas tvaraye tamantime. Lord Mahavishnu said, I brought the Brahmana's sons here because I wanted to see two of you. For seeing Krishna, he had to do Brahmatya so many times, just to see Krishna. See? So this proves that Mahavishnu is an expansion of Krishna. And he had this strong desire to see the beautiful form of Krishna. Then, this verse, I keep going to the same verse again and again. Okay. Okay. Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda also thinks herself a servant of Krishna. Chapter 9, text 1. Shri Shuka Vacha Ekada Griha Dasishu Yashodananda Gehini Karmantara Niyuktasu Nirmamantha Swayam Dadhi. One day Mother Yashoda, and this is the chapter where Krishna is bound by the ropes. One day Mother Yashoda saw that the dasis, or he herself engaged the dasis in other services, the maid servants, and herself began to churn butter for Krishna. Why? Because the love is so much, she wants to do service. That is an example. Then the example of the gopis. The gopis think themselves to be servant of Krishna. So the second verse of Gopi Geet, what is it? If you remember. Sharadudashaye sadhu jata sat sarasi jodara shri mushadrisha suratanathate shulkadasika Varadhanignato neha kim vada. They say that we are your dasis, but what type of dasis? A shulka, unpaid. You haven't even paid us to be maid servants. Generally, when you hire a maid, what do? You pay them. No one is going to be a maid if you don't pay them. But the gopis say that Krishna, we are your maid servants, but we are not. Even though we are not paid, we are still your maid servants. So that's how they have a feeling of servant. So they are conjugal, but still there is dasya. So that proves like the bhava is carried on, is magnified as we progress in the ladder of the rasa. Right? Then Sri Kalindi. Sri Kalindi, who is wife of Lord Krishna. So there are conjugal has two divisions. One is Swakiya, one is Parakiya. Swakiya means wedded, Parakiya is unwedded. In this world, Prabhupada says, both these rasas are not here. If you read the purport again, 50, verse 50, Prabhupada says, both these rasas are not here. we might think that, okay, Swakiya is here, right, in this world. Prabhupada says both are not here. Both are not here in this world. Swakiya is not there, Parakiya is not there. Parakiya is definitely not there. Whatever Parakiya is here, you will go to jail if you do that Parakiya rasa. Right? That Parakiya we cannot do here. But only that Parakiya rasa happens where? In the Vraja realm of Vrindavan. One, I don't know if this is the 100% truth, but one leadership person in our company, he was fired because he talked to a lady and said, "Why do you need so much money? You are a woman." That's it. He was fired. That he was like a CEO, CIO, but he got gone. So that's this material world. So Kalindi, she is the wife of Lord Krishna. She is the wife. Kalindi is who? Yamuna Devi. Personification of Yamuna Devi. She says, and this is Draupadi Devi asking them when they met where? At Kurukshetra. She's asking them, how did you meet Krishna? Tell us, tell me. And all these different wives, they are explaining. So whoever explained before in previous chapters, or wherever Shukadeva Goswami explained, they were not described. Like the ones that were not described, they were more elaborately described here. So Kalindi Devi, she's saying, Shri Kalindi Vacha, Tapas Charanti Magyaya Swapada Sparshanashaya Sakhyo Petya Grahit Panim Soham Tad Griha Marjani. Who am I? I am the Griha Marjani. What does Marjani mean? Sweeper. Any wife in this world, will she ever introduce? Like you go to a party and this lady, so who's your husband? Oh, I am the sweeper of the house. No one is going to, like, he's my master, I am a sold maid servant of him. Mr. Peter, I am sold maid servant of Peter. No one is going to say that, right? No. Or even in India, like, I am Ramesh's house sweeper. No one is going to say that. Why? Because Prabhupada says, Swakiya and Parakiya both do not exist in this world, right? And then finally, Nanda Maharaj, when Uddhava was leaving back, he was going back to Mathura. He came to Vrindavan on request of Krishna to solace his parents and the gopis. So he met Nanda Baba, and then he met the gopis. And when he was leaving, Nanda Baba and the cowherds said this. Nanda Baba leading, they said, Manaso vrittayo nahasyu Krishna pada ambujashrayaha Vacho bidhayinir namnam kayastad prahavanadishu. Nanda and the other cowherds said, may our mental functions always take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. May our words always chant his names, and may our bodies always bow down to him and serve him. So there is dasya. So every rasa has dasya. So that's how Krishna is displaying his Vraja pastimes. Mahaprabhu is appearing to taste those rasas. Mahaprabhu had so many associates. They were in different bhavas. Not everyone was in conjugal rasa. Paramananda Puri, what rasa was he in? Who was Paramananda Puri in previous life? Uddhav. Vatsal. Uddhav is Vatsalya kind of mixed, and then this also like Sakhya. And then, of course, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, Sikhi Mahiti, they were all Sakhi, so they were like in conjugal rasa. Dasya Ras, Murari Gupta, Dasya Ras. Narad Muni, Dasya Ras. And then who else? Gadadhar Pandit, Madhurya Ras. So many rasa. Right? Uddharan Dutt Thakur, what rasa? Sakhya Ras. So all the rasas were there, but it is never said in Chaitanya Caritamrta that this rasa is higher or that devotee is higher. No. Mahaprabhu is glorifying every single one whenever they used to come to Nilachal. He would explain all of theirs like qualities. And he said he became like 5-headed when he was describing their qualities. That's how anxious he was to describe the glories of his devotees. So we have received this nice process of Krishna consciousness by Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Chaitanya Caritamrta is an invaluable literature, and Prabhupada has made it even more sweeter by translating and giving his transcendental Bhakti Vedanta purports. We go through it, we read it, we relish it, and that will definitely change our lives and will quicken the process of going back home, back to Godhead, without a doubt. So we should take this process very seriously, stick to the process of bhakti, associate with devotees, do service, chant 16 rounds, take prasadam, and go back home, back to Godhead. There's no doubt. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Shri Chaitanya Caritamrta ki. Any questions or any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Prabhu.
It's so nice to hear from you, firstly.
No, thank you.
I'm always like eager to speak with you, and I always feel like I'm running around, so to get a chance to hear you speak your realizations for an hour was really satisfying and encouraging, so thank you. I was just really appreciating how you were discussing that all different rasas serve an importance, and especially Raja, and how sometimes there's this kind of like a subtle sectarianism within Gaudiya Vaishnavism that you can only strictly aspire for Madhurya Rasa, but the reality is that there's so many different kinds of relationships that one can have with Krishna, especially in Vraja specifically, that play such an important role. And I was just really appreciating that, because sometimes someone might feel an aspiration towards something, but then they start demeaning other rasas. This was actually one of the main reasons Prabhupada was upset with this Gopi Bhava Club.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they were interested in higher subjects. The problem was that they were demeaning and deriding other rasas and other subjects. And it's just a really, really important point, especially because like as we're progressing, the anarthas get more and more subtle and more difficult to perceive. So it's just, I was really appreciating that point, and just such a well-rounded class in general. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So when we offer Krishna a plate of prasadam, we don't just put rasgulla in every cup. There are different varieties of taste, because Krishna likes, he's Rasaraj, so he likes all varieties of taste. So living entities get recruited in different rasas. So that's there. So it is not like higher or lower, but it's for Krishna's enjoyment ultimately. Yes, bro. Thank you. All right, bro. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.